Welcome back. The Electoral Commission of Namibia, the ECN, is responsible for conducting elections and referenda in the country. As the preliminary voter registration for the 2024 general elections is scheduled to commence on June the 3rd, it is essential to evaluate the ECN's preparedness and gain a comprehensive understanding of the registration process. In this interview, we will delve into the ECN's preparations, the requirements for registration, and the measures implemented to guarantee a seamless and inclusive process. We are now joined via Zoom by Mr. David Siluka, the Corporate Communications and Marketing Manager from the ECN. Mr. Siluka, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Mr. Siluka, provide an overview for us on the preliminary voter registration process for the 2024 general elections.
Well, thank you. Let me start by highlighting that in Namibia, in order for you to vote, one must be a registered voter whose names or details appears in the voters register. Now, what does voters registration entails? Voters registration is a process by which any person who qualifies, any eligible Namibians who qualifies to register and vote in any elections, register his or her credentials or names to be included in the voters register. In Namibia, we have three types of registration. We have what we call the general registration of voters, which take place every after 10 years. And then we have supplementary registration of voters, which takes place between the 10 years of after the GRV. And then we have the continuous voters registration, which takes place throughout the electoral calendar or the year calendar. Now, the general registration of voters, which is the registration that is going to be conducted from the 3rd to the 3rd of June to the 1st of August, is a requirement that one must re-register. All Namibians must register afresh, regardless of whether you were registered when 2014, 2019, you will be required to go and re-register for you in order for your name to appear in the voters register so that you can vote in the upcoming elections.
So your 2019 voters registration card is no longer valuable?
Yeah, in short, all the voters cards, all current voters cards that we have as Namibians have come to an expiry. So we all need to go back and re-register as voters once again.
Mr. Siluka, let's talk about the key requirements for eligible Namibian citizens to register as voters.
Well, thank you. The requirements to register as a voter, one must be a Namibian citizen. Secondly, you must be 18 years or older. And thirdly, you must be able to identify yourself. Now, how do you identify yourself? You must have, or in accordance with the Electoral Act, the current act in which this general registration of voters will be conducted, the documents that are required are as follows. You need to have a Namibian identity card, the new Namibian identity card, or the old Namibian identity card, or a valid green passport. And I must emphasize that it's a valid green Namibian passport, not any other passport. And then fourthly, you must have a Namibian birth certificate and a new Namibian driver's license, or you must have a Namibian birth certificate and 2 registered deponents to witness for you as to say you are indeed a Namibian. And then last but not least, you need to be a Namibian. You need to present your Namibian citizenship certificate with 2 registered deponents. That is for presidential and National Assembly elections. Now, for you to register in order to vote in regional and local authority elections, there are additional requirements to the requirements that I just highlighted before. You need to present in respect of providing your residential means. You need to present your municipal bill. You need to present your telephone bill. You need to present your lease agreement or a statement under oath that indeed you reside within that constituency. In respect of providing residency for members of the force, these are such as the Namibian Defense Force, the police, the Namibian Correctional Services, then they will need to prove, they need a proof of membership and an affidavit deposed by the commanding officer stating that that officer is stationed in that constituency or that locality. Now, in respect to providing residency by persons, these are students, can be students or learners in schools who are staying in hostel. Then they will be required to provide proof of registration to indicate that indeed they live within that, they have lived within that constituency for more than 12 months consecutively. So these are some of the requirements, or not some, these are the requirements that you need in order for you to register in the upcoming general registration of voters.
How does this registration process, which is, seems quite cumbersome for lack of a better word right now, how will this process be accessible to all, eligible citizens, especially those in remote areas?
Well, thank you. We have identified about 567 registration points. 567 registration points across the country and 35 abroad, with about 109 registration teams based locally. As you have been following in the news, we have now recently recruited the trainees for the general registration of voters as registration officers. They've also commenced their training yesterday. We have also employed on temporary basis the 121 supervisors of registration who are already in the constituencies to assist with this process. And in addition to this, we have ensured to capacitate our regional teams by ensuring that we appoint regional electoral officers on a permanent basis who will assist the commission to undertake their mandate at the regional level. And with this capacity, or this capacity in human resources, we are really confident that we are going to carry out this exercise as per the plans and as outlined in our 2024 electoral calendar. Now, in addition to that, we are deploying, or we have already deployed per se to the regions, the integrated mobile voter registration system. This is a system that is customized for ECN, and it's a system that with an integrated solution interfacing the voter registration, voter identification, and voter verification, as well as registration of political parties and organizations, as well as nominations and election results management. Now, what does this tell? The integrated mobile voter registration system has what we call the AFIS, the automated fingerprint identification system. This automated fingerprint identification system allows the voters to register their fingerprints. And then these fingerprints are uploaded on the system. And then after registration is completed, the system will check the duplicates, which will be then removed. So if I register, let me say I register in Katutura East, and for some other reasons, I move to Kavango, I register in Diona constituency. Immediately, the system will pick it up and the latest registration will be the one that will be considered, and then the previous registration will be removed on the system. This is to ensure the integrity of the system. Now, this system was tested in November last year as well as in early this year to test its readiness and its functionality. And we can assure the public that the system is effective and ready to come the registration of voters. Now, the other thing is that this enhanced system leverages mobile technology to make voters registration more responsive and efficiency. It can operate on electricity, it can operate on a generator, but it also, the battery, it has a battery that has a lifetime of about 8 hours to last. In addition to that, the system only takes you roughly between 3 to 5 minutes to complete the registration. So it's quite faster, and we are really confident that we will manage to register the eligible voters as per our target.
Thank you. Mr. Siluka, I'd like to know, in the past it was emphasized that if an individual registers in a certain constituency, that is the constituency that their voting needs to take place in as well. Is that still the case?
Yes, correct. That's correct. That's still the case. In order for you, like I've mentioned earlier, in order for you to vote in the regional and local authority elections, you need to register in your constituency. Now, what are we saying is that even though Namibia becomes one constituency during the presidential and national assembly election, it is advisable and encourageable that all voters register within their constituencies to avoid the supplementary voters registration come next year again.
In the event that I've traveled in between regions or moved house by the time that the election comes along, what happens in that instance?
In the event that you have moved, because look, what happens is that during presidential elections, presidential and national assembly elections, Namibia becomes one constituency. What does this mean? You can vote elsewhere in Namibia. Elsewhere where you find yourself, you can vote. But during the local and regional authority elections, you can only vote within your constituency or within your local authority where you reside.
Mr. Siluka, talk to us about the voter education initiatives that you have planned to inform citizens about the registration processes as well as their rights as voters.
Well, thank you. On the 7th of March, we launched the Voter and Civic Education campaign. And then the purpose of this campaign is really to establish through inclusive civic voter and civic education initiatives that encourages and facilitates citizen participation in both general registration of voters and the upcoming November elections. This campaign is being conducted under the theme Enhancing Electoral Democracy through Electoral Processes. You might have seen around, if you drive around the country, there are billboards everywhere that indicates or encourages, particularly the youth, to register and vote. We also have radio programs that we are running and interviews to entice the public in order for them to register and vote in the upcoming election. But not only that, we all have different platforms such as our social medias, and we have also our ground forces, the regional regional voter education officers who are on the ground in the regions, going door to door to educate and impart knowledge on civic rights and voter education to our people out there, in order for them to understand the process when it comes to general registration of voters, as well as what they need in order for them to participate or vote in the upcoming elections. In addition to that, We have also recently contracted Miss Teen Namibia, Oriana Ribeiro, as the lead youth ambassador to drive our message towards encouraging the youth to participate by registering to vote in the upcoming general registration of voters. We'll also be soon deploying our youth ambassadors in the regions who also carry the same message to encourage the youth in order for them to participate into this upcoming election by ensuring that they register to vote. So it's quite a lot of activities that we are doing in terms of educating the public, but we also want to encourage the public to, especially those in the regions, to, if they need access to this information and they don't have that information, we have our regional electoral officers' contact details on our website. They can always call directly, especially the councillors, if they need information in their regions. They can directly contact them to get that information from them. That information is readily available for the public. We also want to encourage them that those who are looking for the registration points on where to register and the times they have to register, that information is also available on our website. It will be available on our social media platforms, and it will also be available at in the print media. However, if you need a hard copy, you can go to any nearest office of the ECN in our regions as well, or you can contact us directly through our corporate communications department at 081-4145-205 in order for us to provide you the information that you may require.
Mr. Siluka, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Lovely speaking to you.
Pleasure for having me. Thank you, and good evening, viewers.
That was Mr. David Siluka, who is the Corporate Communications and Marketing Manager at the Electoral Commission of Namibia, speaking to us on the ECN's readiness for voter registration, which is set to take place on the 3rd of June, and the process will be ongoing until the 1st of August 2024.